Hello, Aubrey. How's it going today?
I'm great. How are you, Lindsay?
Fantastic. I am super excited to talk about idioms in today's episodes. Have you ever realized that you were saying an expression or an idiom incorrectly?
Yeah, this has happened to me a couple times. In fact, the other day, my partner meant to say bits and pieces
Uh-huh.
and said bits and pizzas, like the pizza you eat. And we laughed
Mm.
so hard because, I mean, it happens. Sometimes you just accidentally say it incorrectly, or sometimes you've been hearing it incorrectly. So you say it incorrectly.
Oh my gosh, there's definitely a number of these that I have always said incorrectly, and then when I'm like 25, I realized
Totally.
that all of a sudden I've been saying this wrong my entire life.
Yes, I'm
Um,
excited that we're going to get into this. One of the ones we're teaching today, I've said wrong my entire life. And
yeah.
someone pointed it out, and I was like, what?
What is an
And
eggcorn, by the way? That word
yeah,
eggcorn, what the heck does that mean?
it's a weird word, right? These are called eggcorns, which means you're saying the wrong word as a result of mishearing something. And this happens. Native English speakers will incorrectly say an idiom because they heard it wrong. And
Right.
often, like if you see it written, then you're like, oh, I get it. But when you hear it, it sounds like different words. So you make a
Int
mistake.
Interesting. This can happen with songs too, right?
Absolutely.
A
Misheard
lot.
lyrics.
Yeah, it happens
Yeah,
with kids too a lot of times with misheard lyrics, but adults as well. And
totally.
then when you're all of a sudden singing along to a song with a friend and they sing it differently, you think, "Uh-oh,
Like,
who's
wait a minute.
wrong? Who's right?"
Who's wrong here? We got to Google.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why are idioms important when it comes to the B2 level, Aubrey? Why does it matter?
Yeah, when we're at that B1 level, it's really easy to make these mistakes with
Okay.
idioms. It's hard to feel confident using them because they do have to be used word for word or the meaning is lost. It doesn't make sense. So it's
Mhm.
really important that we get to B2 where we're more comfortable with these very native natural phrases.
Yeah, so B2 is that place where we can get stuck. It's that upper intermediate place. Aubrey, you probably experienced it in French, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
I know that I've experienced it in Spanish to some extent, where I'm just using the same words, the safe words, the easy words,
Yeah.
and I'm not pushing myself. I'll never get to advanced if I don't push through that B2 level, right?
And that's keeping us from having those interesting and deep conversations in a
Right.
second language. We want you to have those conversations in English, but if you get stagnant there at that intermediate level, that's difficult to do.
Yeah, stagnant is the key word, right?
Mhm.
Stagnant, or there's really a plateau at the upper intermediate level that I think
Right?
a lot of our listeners might be stuck in that place. And when we get that to that place, to get past it, we actually need a plan. Right, Aubrey? It's not at
Exactly.
that point, it's you have to do more than just jumping around the internet and consuming entertaining content. Right?
Exactly, right? The same old thing you've been doing is not pushing you there. You need a plan. You need
Yes.
really good courses and lessons. There's going to be more that's required to push you to those advanced levels.
Yep, and that's why we are launching our brand new B2 English Fluency course. And this week we have a special deal because it is shiny and new. It's the first time we've ever launched it, Aubrey. How are you feeling, by the way, about this course launch for
I'm
our listeners?
so excited about this course because we were really able to interview some very interesting people. It's full of conversations with some of the most interesting people we know, and none of it's scripted. So it's native, natural conversations, which
Yeah.
will really push you past that level where you're just stagnant with those kind of scripted conversations.
You got it. Yes. Interesting conversations, interesting people eventually creates confidence and connection. And that's what we're all about, guys. At the end of the episode, a little later in a few minutes, after we go through these idioms, we're going to talk about the special deal that's available this week only. All right. So hang on, guys. But first, let's talk about a couple of acorns, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
What's the first one that you have made a mistake with, Aubrey?
Yeah, so this is chomping at the bit, which means you're impatient. We'll
Hmm.
say, "Oh, I'm really chomping at the bit to go on this vacation." Means you
Yeah.
can't wait for it to happen. Have you
Uh-huh.
heard this? Have you said this? Chomping at the bit?
Yeah, I have before. I think of a horse, right?
Yeah.
Because a horse wears a bit, and you
Mhm.
imagine a horse in the gate before the horse race or
Right.
something, right?
Exactly. But it's
Mhm.
actually a mistake. It should be champing at the bit,
Are you serious? I
but
didn't know that.
most this was me neither. I know I said it incorrectly for a long time, and then finally someone was like, "It's actually champing." It's like, "What?" I had to Google.
Whoa, okay,
So
you're
this is
blowing my
interesting.
mind
Yeah.
today.
So chomping exists in English. We kind of talk about people chomping their food, like biting. So it makes sense that we make this mistake. The verb for a horse fighting their bit or is actually champing. So a horse is champing at its bit if it doesn't want that piece in its mouth. And we just either hear it incorrectly or don't realize that champing is a separate word. And so you're going to hear guys chomping at the
Oh,
bit.
for
It's actually a
sure.
mistake.
That is fascinating. You're breaking my brain. You're blowing my mind today, Aubrey. This is a mistake that's gone viral in
Oh,
among
yeah.
the native speaker community. I mean, we all say chomping at the bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the good
Wow.
news is you can say chomping at the bit. Most people aren't going to know that's what you're going to hear. You can say it, don't stress about it. There
Right.
could be someone that says to you, like they said to me, I think it's actually champing at the bit. It might be used correctly outside of the US more, but
Right.
within the US, you're going to hear chomping at the bit. It's a
Yeah.
very common error.
And that brings up an interesting conversation, which is one we would have at the upper intermediate level. At what
Yes,
point do you choose to actually say it incorrectly because it's what everyone is saying? I would argue for this one, I might say it incorrect, continue to say it incorrectly because it's what everyone recognizes and
it's true.
says.
It
Yeah.
almost would be you'd be more likely to be corrected if you say, like, "Be patient, you're champing at the bit." There's a good chance someone would be like, "I think it's chomping at the bit."
That is
And
so
then it might actually
funny.
break the connection if you're like, "Let's Google,
Yeah.
I'm right."
Yeah. I think that is the litmus test right there. You always
Yeah,
think, what is gonna maintain the connection? If I go with the correct version or the incorrect version, what is gonna be better? Maybe that would open an interesting conversation and debate, which could be connection in that
true.
moment, or
Interesting.
it could be the opposite, where you just wanna say it wrong because that's what everyone is saying, and that's
Right.
not the point of that conversation.
Exactly. So it depends on who you're talking to, what type of conversations you have. But either way, this is interesting to
Ah.
know. You won't learn this in any textbook.
I love it. All right. So and this is the kind of thing that we clear up at this level, at the B2
Yep.
level to advance into the higher levels into advanced English. So this next one I love. I identify with this completely. What is it, Aubrey? The
Okay,
second
it's
eggcorn.
for all intensive purposes, intensive being one word. Have you ever said this or heard this,
Oh,
Lindsay?
I think I might have actually thought until today. Well, actually, now I'm not sure which one it is.
No, you're
So
not sure.
intents and
That's the
purposes.
correct one,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
For
Good.
all intents and purposes, which
Okay.
if you think about the words, this makes more sense, right? For
Yeah.
every intent, for every purpose.
Yes.
It
Right.
doesn't make sense to have the word intensive there
No.
for all intensive purposes, but this is an eggcorn because people hear it incorrectly. If they
Right.
don't see it written, we
Yeah.
say it quickly, we run our words together, and it sounds like for all intensive purposes, they sound the same.
It completely sounds the same, all
Yeah,
intents and purposes. Let's give some sample sentences for this
sure.
one, Aubrey. How about this? I dropped my phone in the pool, so for all intents and purposes, it's useless.
Exactly. So the meaning means essentially, right? Something has the same
Yeah.
outcome or result as something else. So you
Mm,
might say, for all intents and purposes, this contract does what we need it to do. But of course, I'm emphasizing the words so you can tell the difference on the podcast. We're actually
yeah.
going to say, for all intents and purposes, this contract does, and it sounds the same as the eggcorn, as the mistake.
Oh, I could see in one of our fluency parties or our conversation clubs getting into a conversation like this with our students live, right?
Absolutely.
Over, what do you do? Do you move to which one would be connection? Which the wrong one or the correct one? What do we do in these
Exactly.
moments,
And I get
right?
questions like this a lot in Open Conversation Club because our students are at this higher level. They're
Yeah.
hearing these mistakes. They're not sure which to use. Really helps to have a native speaker teacher and also other language learners to bounce these ideas of have these really interesting conversations about which should we use.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk a little bit more because I am so excited about the launch of our brand shiny new B2 Fluency course, Aubrey. So let's talk a little bit about our method, the connection method, which is baked into this course and every course. How is it different from all of the other courses out there? What's the key differentiator
Yeah.
here?
Well, we start with real English, how
Yeah.
native speakers really speak. Most programs, a lot of courses manufacture the English, just
Hmm.
like textbooks, right? Scripted conversations with the vocabulary they want to teach, and it's pretty unnatural. But with
Yes.
real native conversations, you're learning real English.
Yeah, because if we inherently tell the person we're interviewing, okay, we're going to interview you, but please use these three words, it's not going to be real. Right? It's going to be manufactured. So we do the opposite. Aubrey, you interviewed a couple of very interesting people for this course. Who did you interview in this course?
Yes, I interviewed my friend Orla from Ireland. So
Hmm.
she has this amazing Irish accent, but she's lived in the States for a
Yeah.
long time. She's a very successful leader at Microsoft. And
Hmm.
there were so many interesting conversations that we were able to pull these awesome lessons from. You learn so much vocabulary and also strategies that you couldn't learn from a scripted conversation.
Yeah, so that is the key difference, right, of the connection method at All Ears English is we start with the real English. It's unscripted, it's spontaneous, it is not manufactured. How long does it take for a student to actually complete this course? What is the time commitment? What are we talking about here to get through the B2 course?
Yeah, we recommend 20 minutes a day, 3 to 5 days per week, and that would
Mhm.
take you about 90 days, right?
Yeah.
This will help you build that habit. You have a
Yes.
clear study plan where your time is organized and you are improving every single week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, you don't have to complete a course like this in 90 days, right? You have lifetime access for our courses now. So you could complete it in 2 years. But the key is we do something every day or at least 5 days a week, 3 to 5 days a week to build the consistency, the momentum, right? It's momentum building.
Exactly. And this is new and exciting. If you're not yet in one of our courses, you might not realize this that we have added tons of speaking practice.
Yes.
If you are in any of our courses, you are part of our community. We have a weekly open conversation clubs that are so fun. They're over Zoom. We get to chat with you and get to know you. You get to meet other members of our community, other speaking partners, as well as monthly fluency parties. Lindsay and I are both there. They're
Yes.
so fun. You guys need to get to this fun speaking practice.
Yeah, the cool thing about the Fluency Party is that you're always going to get it to meet at least 2 members of our podcasting team. We have a team of 4 podcasters here, and you'll get to meet 2 out of 4 of the team members, which is incredible in itself.
Yes, it's
And
so fun.
Aubrey,
I love
yeah,
it.
what is the topic? So this month, you and Jessica are actually hosting it. And what is the topic this month of our Fluency Party?
Yes, we always have a really interesting discussion, sort of diving deep about one topic, and we'll share
Mhm.
a little bit of vocabulary to talk about that. And we're getting into healthcare this month. So if you have ever wanted to talk
Ooh,
about healthcare in your country, what it's like around the world, find out from other people how it's different because people in open conversation clubs are from countries all over the world.
right.
And then we go deep. It's not just like what's healthcare like, what should it be like? What should be
Interesting.
changed and why? I had a really interesting conversation with a student about socialized medicine, and it's going to be
Mhm.
interesting to dive into pluses and minuses of something like that.
Oh, that is going to be such a rich conversation topic this month. And it
Yeah.
kind of stems off of the conversation I had in our B2 Fluency course, one of the lessons with my friend Denise, who used to work as a doula, right?
Yes.
Aubrey, what's a doula, by the way?
That's someone who assists in childbirth, a lot like a
Yeah,
midwife. And yeah, that's really interesting because we don't usually get an inside peek into that type of profession.
I know.
So I'm
I know.
excited for you guys to hear that interview.
Yeah, we talk about is it actually that safe to have a baby in the US, right? What are some of the
Right.
challenges and some of the data is surprising, right? So guys, that is one of the lessons along with the interview Aubrey did with Orla in the B2 Fluency course. So this content is waiting for you. It is being unveiled this week. It's ready for you to build fluency with this content. So Aubrey, I think our listeners need to know about the deal at this point. The
Yes, you
offer.
guys
Yes.
need to join now because we are offering special early bird access. So not only do you save up to $100, and you will also get a special bonus, 5 cool phrases in English, which is an amazing course that
Yeah.
Jessica created. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, when you join before June 1st, you get another course, How to Be Polite in English. Amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're offering the early bird bonus to our amazing podcast listeners because we know you guys you're ready for this. This is exactly for you at this level. So when you join before the early bird date of June 1st, you get the how to be polite in English, but after June 1st, that extra bonus does go away. Now, Aubrey, where should our listeners go to get it?
Yes, go to allearsenglish.com/B2, the letter B and the number 2. And you got to go now, guys, for that special early bird discount.
Yeah, don't miss it. Aubrey, do we have time to run through the role play? I think we have a
Yeah, I
few
think
minutes.
so.
Why don't we
Let's
do
do
it?
a quick
Let's
role play.
do it.
You and I are at a wedding in this role play. I'll start us out.
All right, so we're coming back to the acorns, right,
Ooh,
that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. So let's
this is
see
how
how
they
these are
might
used. Yeah.
come up in a conversation.
Yes.
I know the mother of the bride has been champing at the bit for this day to come.
I'm not surprised. So much planning goes into a wedding. So when it's all said and done, I'm sure everyone is a bit relieved.
Yeah, her dad told me he was really hands off with preparations. So, for all intents and purposes, this is her mom's show.
Yeah, I feel like that's often how weddings can go,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And there's a little bonus in here, another eggcorn. Often people will say or write all set and done, but it should be all
Oh,
said and done. So this is an extra
okay.
fun one.
Interesting. So that one I'm pretty clear on. I feel like I
Yeah.
don't make that mistake, but fascinating that we do,
Mhm.
these mistakes can go viral. And sometimes again, it's not a problem, right?
Right.
And that's what we explore at this high intermediate level. So first you said, I know the mother of the bride has been champing at the bit for this day to come. She's been what? She's been
Impatient, like, so
mm,
excited, ready, waiting, and I like what you said, Lindsay. I probably would be more likely to say chomping at the bit if I were
right.
in the US,
Yes.
because otherwise the next thing you said might have been like, "What wait, what do you mean champing at the bit? I thought it's chomping at the bit. Am I wrong?"
I know. I know, it's so funny. And then I said, I'm not surprised. So much planning goes into a wedding. So when it's all said and done, everyone is relieved. So when we say all said and done, it means when
When
you're at
everything's
the
been
end.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, right? When
Yeah.
when we consider all the details.
It's all over or
Mhm.
what however you want to frame it. And then
Exactly.
you used our fun one, intents and purposes. What did you say, Aubrey?
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, this is her mom's show. It means, like, essentially, like, the dad didn't do much, so, the mom was able to pick all of the details.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this is it. I mean, what's our takeaway for today's episode, Aubrey? A couple of opportunities here for our
Yes,
listeners.
absolutely, right? Using idioms, idiomatic language really pushes you from intermediate to advanced, but it can make you stagnant if you're stressed about using them incorrectly, if you're not getting the speaking practice you need to practice using these in conversations. So we
Yeah.
want you to feel confident using them. It makes language so much more fun,
Yeah. And overall, we don't want you to get stuck at this
right?
intermediate level. We want to move you through upper intermediate and eventually into advanced. And the way to do that is not to jump around the internet and find entertaining resources. That is not for learning, that is not for outcomes. The way to get an outcome that you want is a study plan, and we have it for you. Aubrey, we haven't
Exactly.
launched a course in quite a while. The last time we launched a course was our business English course a few years ago.
It's true, it's
So
been a little while. So this is exciting for us. We can't wait to share it with you. We put a lot of work into it. So
yeah.
guys, go to allearsenglish.com/B2 to check it out.
Yeah, be the first one ever to get into
Yes.
B2. That is my challenge. I think it's going to be a podcast listener and be the one, guys, to be the very first student in B2. It is open now. So go to allearsenglish.com/B2. That is the letter B and the number 2. We'll see you there. Okay.
Awesome. See you there. We'll see you at Open Conversation Club
Yeah.
and Influency
Woo-hoo.
parties. I'm so excited.
Woo. Fun. All right. See you there. Aubrey. Take care.
You too. Bye.